We have been anxious to show this to you. We gave you a sneak peek back in February. This is the Toyota Grand Highlander, the new 3-row SUV from Toyota. This is designed for families, it's designed for road trippers, it's designed for people who do a lot of carpools and need a lot of space for both cargo and people. Starting at about $44,000, topping out at just under $60,000. This is a big contender for those people who need a lot of space. They need towing, they need comfort, they need USB ports at every seat, they need lots of places to put cups and bottles, and they want it to look good too. So I'm really excited to show you and take a test drive in the 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander. Actually, even though it's called Highlander, it doesn't look like the Highlander at all. It carries the new design language of Toyota. So you'll notice it's got this large, wide grille. It's not as large or as big as the one that you'll see on the Sequoia, but it is large. It has the Toyota badge here. There are a lot of sensors and a lot of radar and things like that buried in this front grille. You'll see this wide bumper across the bottom there that is a metal color, and then we have headlights with this really sleek headlights and fog lights. This is a brand new design language from Toyota's Calty Design Group. That is their California-based design. California and Michigan is where this is designed, and we're going to see more and more Toyotas that look like the Grand Highlander rather than the Grand Highlander looking like other Toyotas that are already out on the market. So this is a big guy. It is tall. I'm 5'8", and this is how tall this car is. There are roof rails up here, and then it is a 3-row SUV. So what that means is we have these nice wide center row doors, and then there is a 3rd row. There's seating back here, and it's a very large 3rd row. Great for full-size people, which is a nice thing. It's about the same size, or actually a little bit larger than an average coach seat on an airplane. That's 31 inches. This is about 33.5 inches in the 3rd row. But before we go back there, I want to show you the cargo area because it is nice and large. They say you can fit 7 rollerboards behind the 3rd row. If you move these seats, they're not quite so reclined, a little more upright, then maybe you can. They might have to be smallish. I'm sure somebody will test this out, but you do still have a lot of space. So this is going to be easy for golf clubs. This is going to be easy for a tandem stroller, a flat folding stroller. You could actually probably fit 2 or strollers here, an umbrella stroller. So you can fit a lot of things back here. Costco haul for maybe most of the week, depending on how big your family is. You can fit all that stuff back here, so that's pretty nice. There is a spare tire, and it must be under the car because what we see under here is a place to store the cargo cover, and then we have the spare tire kit. So we've got the jack there and all the tools here. So it does come with all that, and that's a nice detail. But I want to show you one detail here in the rear cargo area that I really love, and that is right here. And I want you to come look at this. It has a household outlet. We love this. In fact, Toyota added not 1 but 2 of these in the Grand Highlander. There's one also in the center row, and that is a great thing. And what that means is you have an air compressor, you have a piece of equipment that you need to power, you just plug it in. You don't need an adapter, and we love that. So I'll also show you this. It has the walk and lock. So you can close that, and you get a few seconds before the door closes, so you can grab your things, press that button, and walk away. It also has a motion-activated lift gate, so let's see if that works. There it is. So all you do is swipe your foot under. Some of the models, then these are pre-production, will have a little icon right here on the bumper that shows you where to swipe your foot, which is a great thing. It kind of looks like a Wi-Fi signal, those little curves. So let's talk about the rear end of the Grand Highlander. So again, tall boy. This is a tall car, but it's nice because you get a lot of vertical space in the rear end. On the back, more of Toyota's new language. You'll see these large spanning taillights, the Toyota badge here, and the Highlander name actually stamped into the metal here, the Grand Highlander name stamped in the metal there. Here we have the Hybrid Max logo here. This is the engine, and this little guy here, this is the Beyond Zero logo. We'll start to see this on more and more Toyota models as they go to not only the car but also the process of building that car and fueling that car that is beyond zero in terms of emissions and pollution. And then here is the model. This is the Platinum, and Platinum, as you know, is the one we all want because it has every single bell and whistle Toyota could think of. And with that, should we go check out all the bells and whistles? The exterior color of this car is called Storm Cloud Blue. It is beautiful. The interior is actually black, but it's a lighter color black. This one happens to be leather, and it has this really beautiful micro suede with these sort of bronze accents and stitching here. It's a really elegant treatment for what has traditionally been a value-based family car. Just because it's affordable and just because you're gonna put your kids and your dog in here doesn't mean it needs to be ugly. We all know that. So what has Toyota done in this car to give you the perfect place to spend your day and your travels with those that you want to spend time with? Well, pretty much everything they can think of. So let's start here. I'm going to show you the power button, and I'm going to start it up. It may not sound like it may not have sounded like it was running, but it is. Listen. So there it is. So the Toyota hybrid engines will start silent, and then they'll power on the gas engine as that's necessary. I'll start by showing you what you see here. This is Toyota's brand new multimedia system. It's a 14-inch screen, but you can ask for navigation, you can ask for climate control settings and raise or lower the temperature. You can ask it, you know, where the closest Starbucks is, and then to navigate you there, and even to place a call to the closest Starbucks to make sure that they are still serving that nitro cold brew or whatever it is that you're looking for. So a lot of great advantages on this system. A lot of them are subscription features. So there comes with a trial, and then eventually if you want to keep that feature, you're going to have to pay for it. Thanks to some other car makers who we know who have kind of priced out those details. That's something that we're seeing more and more of. But the good news is if you don't want to pay for it, you don't have to pay for it. You can only pay for it if you want to, and that's a great deal. Then over here there is a driver information screen that is fully digital. And you will see some nice animation that comes on the screen when you first get into the car. And then you can customize it by playing with these buttons over here. Let's see, I want to get rid of that. By playing with these buttons over here, and you can scroll through different settings and see different things. And one of the things that I really like is you're able to put navigation over here in this screen. So right here, one of the things that it shows is, let's see, because that door is open, the HUD, and that is the head-up display. The head-up display is a great feature for keeping your eyes on the road. It gives you a lot of information. It shows you the safety seat features that are in action. It shows you road signs, and then it will even show you navigation and radio. So you can kind of set up the head-up display however you would like to see it. That's a great feature. Another great feature is this one right here. And you'll see this on some cars, and it's really just a driver observation camera. Not so here on the Toyota Grand Highlander. That is actually a facial recognition feature, and what that does is it recognizes you once you've set it up with your VIN and your ownership. Once you registered, you can set that up to recognize you. So when you get in and you set your radio station and you set your mirrors and you set your seat position and you set the ideal climate temperature, and you get in and it recognizes you and it puts all those features right back in place where you had them. So no matter who drove the car last, you will have things set up how you like them best using this facial recognition. So highly recommend setting this up as soon as you get into the car. Another thing that you'll see over here are paddle shifters. So we actually have real paddle shifters. Even though this is a hybrid, one pedal driving or regenerative braking is not something that's part of your drive experience. So you're able to have paddle shifters for shifting through the gears. Really great for downhill driving, especially if you're trailering or towing, up to 5,000 pounds of towing in the Toyota Grand Highlander. So if you're carrying something and you don't want to put extra stress on the brakes, you can use the paddle shifters to maintain your speed going down a hill. That's a nice feature. Now, let's talk about this area. So I want to show you what Toyota has put here in the center. Some people call this the console. I like to think of it as the command center because this is where all the action happens. So first of all, there's room for not one, but two phones right there. And on this pad, there is a wireless phone charger. That is standard equipment. You can also connect your phones wirelessly to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, or you can use a wire. There is not one, but two USB ports right here. So lots of options for powering your phone in the front seat. And then we have these extra large cup holders. So there's a cup holder here, and then you can actually put one of those really big hydro flasks or big obnoxious bottles right in there. That's a really nice space for, or you could just put lots of cords and things like that. And then over here is this really cool gear selector, and I'll tell you why I like this. This is only available in the Hybrid Max edition, but this is the same gear selector you find in many Lexus models, and it works like this. You pull it over and push it back for drive, or pull it over and push it forward for reverse, and push that button to put it in park. It's really elegant and it's small, and I love how it fits just in the palm of my hand right here, and it doesn't take up a ton of space, and that's really nice because that gives you space for other things like these extra large cup holders, room for two phones, things like that. I want to show you over here. This is the hold button. This is brake hold. And so all you do is tap this button, and then once you put your foot on the brake when you're at a traffic light or stop sign or maybe in line at the drive-through, you press the brake down and the car will not move. And that is another really great feature, is brake hold. I love that. And then over here are our drive modes. So we can drive in normal, we can put it in any of the off-road, so rock and dirt, mud and sand. We can drive it in eco if we want to get the most out of that Hybrid Max engine, or we can put it in sport. And then over here is snow and downhill descent control. So if you are driving down a rocky slope or a steep driveway and you really want good traction and you want the car to regulate the speed so it's very much in control, you just tap that button and it'll let you do that. And then over here, I'll show you this. Here's the stop start button. Notice that it's like almost like a power button that you would have on an appliance. I think that's kind of cute. And then there's this really beautiful rose gold trim. This is because we're in the Platinum edition. You'll see this really nice trim detail. You have it there, you have it here around the climate vents, and you'll have it on the steering wheel. And I really love that beautiful attention to detail. You'll also see that beautiful attention to detail over here on the passenger side dash. So there actually is a nice little shelf right here. There is a USB port over there, and this is a great place to put small things, and it's got a little lip to it so things are not going to fly out. They might slide around a little bit, but they won't fly out. And then there's this trim detail here that kind of looks like carbon fiber. It also is over there on the door panel, and it's elegant. It's a nice hard surface. It gives you a little visual variety, but really pretty detail here in the front passenger seat in the Toyota Grand Highlander. Toyota brought back something in the Grand Highlander that we really loved in the Highlander from a few years ago. They took it out, but they brought it back, and that is this, a retractable cover on the center armrest. And this is huge. There's a huge console down here. Now, if you're wondering why Toyota did this, they did this to be considerate to other people. With the retractable cover, I can have my arm here, and Brian can then open this and not disturb me while I'm driving. So he can get whatever he needs out of there. He doesn't need to bother me or make me move my arm to open the console here. So I like that. I also like how big it is. And we're gonna do the stuff test. So here's my big ass bag, and we're gonna see how much stuff will fit in this tote from the center console, because there's a lot of stuff in here. So far I put 3 bags from there. And there's my thing. And then there's also, this was not mine, but there's a tray and a water bottle. All that was in here. That's incredible. That's a lot of stuff. So if you're wondering where to put your bag, a small bag will fit in here. This is it's about this wide, so it's about this wide, but it's very deep. This is the tray that goes in there, but it's very deep and lots of space for everything. A small bag will fit in there, or all the contents of a large bag will fit in there. Standard in the Platinum Edition, but an option on the others is this. That's got quite the hum to it. But wait, there's more. You can actually also open the glass. Not all panoramic sunroofs open fully like this or open the glass, and this one does. That's a nice detail. So the Toyota Grand Highlander is designed for 7 or 8 passengers. I'm going to show you that, but I want to show you this first and why you want this feature. This is a live view mirror. So you can flip it for a reflective view, or you can flip it this way for a video view. If you have 7 passengers in this car, you've got 3 people in the 3rd row, or even 2 people in the 3rd row, or you have a lot of cargo, this is a great thing to have because it shows you a video view. You don't need to actually see through that rear view window in order to know what's going on behind the car. You have this showing you a wide video view. I'll also share that at night, this is much brighter than the reflective view. The reflective view gets very dark, but at night, this is much brighter. So anyone who's struggling to see at night or maybe has a little night blindness, these video views are a real help. So what's it like in the center row? Well, our version has captain's chairs. You can get a bench that seats 3 across the center. In the Platinum Edition, captain's chairs are standard. They are comfortable and there's a lot of leg room. So notice this, I'm 5'8". This seat is set for my driving position and I have a lot of room. I've got a lot of foot room and a lot of leg room. I really like this. Now, let's see, can we move the seat forward and back? Why, yes we can. So I had it as far back as it would go, but if we have 3rd row passengers, and this is pretty standard, you want to be able to move the center row seats forward a little bit to give them space for a little leg room if they need it. We have some amenities here for 2nd row passengers. We have heated and cooled seats in the 2nd row. We have all of our climate settings here. There's a USB port there, and we have a household plug, a household outlet. I love that household outlet, and I love that Toyota did that. In fact, there's only one of the traditional round cigarette adapter style outlets in this car, and that is in the center console between the front seats. That's the only one, which is pretty nice. Now, if you're sitting back here and you're looking for air vents, let me just move my seat back a little bit, and you're looking for air vents, they are right here in the ceiling. Another detail that we really like about these large 3-row SUVs is we have the vents there, and then there are vents in the front. We don't have vents on the center console here, which I kind of would like to see, but I understand why they didn't do it. It gave you a lot more space in the console to not have vents on the back of the center console. You have some really nice, there's a nice little pocket here. There are bottle pockets in the doors. There are cup holders here in the center console. You can put a phone here. You can put a phone here. You can put a phone here. There's a little space there for a phone. And if you decide you don't want the center console, well, you can just pop it out. And this thing weighs probably about a pound or less. It's really lightweight, and you could just pop it into the cargo area or leave it in the garage. This creates a really nice pass-through for getting into the third row. Or you could actually step over this too. It's not very obtrusive. So even with the size of that, you can take it or leave it because it's not huge. And so I think now it's time to get into the third row and check that out. It might be easier to get into the third row by putting the seats forward, because they do slide and tilt, and they give you a really nice wide open space to climb into the third row. And I will show you that. But before we do that, I want to show you what third row passengers get, because there's some nice amenities back here too. So what do passengers in the third row get? Well, they get, this is my 10-year-old me dream. I can't even tell you. So first of all, you do have vents here. There's a USB port over here. There's a USB port over here on the other side. But this is my 10-year-old me dream. There is a little box here that I can put my phone in right here. And I can watch videos. I could actually put a tablet right here and I can watch videos. So, and you're not completely looking down, but it's also not attached to the seat in front of you. I love this. I could sit here all day and watch Gilligan's Island one after another on my phone right there, and I don't have to hold it. I think that is brilliant. This also will hold water bottles. It'll hold all kinds of stuff, but these little things right here that they put in here are designed to hold different things so things don't roll around. And no, it is not a great place to put your lollipop when you've decided you don't want it anymore, children. Multi-function center row seats. So this is great. If you have a baby seat installed here and you would like to access the third row, you just pull this tab on the shoulder, and these seats slide and slide forward, they tilt and slide. And then check this out. There's a handhold right here for getting into the third row, which I will do just like that. And then you can pull the seat back like that. We are in the Hybrid Max version of the Toyota Grand Highlander. 362 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot of torque. What that means is that you can get up to speed really quickly, even with a full load of people, something on the roof rack, whatever you got going on, you'll have the power to do it. That's really nice. This one comes standard with all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is available on all the other editions of the Toyota Grand Highlander. So if that's something you need, you can absolutely have it. But if you go for the high-end platinum trim of the Hybrid Max, you get it. Actually, I think you get it with all the Hybrid Max versions, right? Yep. It's standard on Hybrid Max, so that's pretty nice. And I have it in, we're just driving in normal, but I'm gonna pop it over here to sport, and woo! So you get a little rumble of the engine there. It's not super throaty. It has paddle shifters, but I wouldn't call it a sports car. I would call it a SUV. And I have to say, I feel like it's pretty comfortable. Even though this is a large SUV, I can see the full hood line in front of me. I do feel the 8-inch ground clearance. It's tall. It doesn't feel like you're driving a really large SUV. It doesn't feel like you're driving a truck, and I appreciate that. We actually did a couple of U-turns this morning, and it was easy to just whip it around and pull into a parking spot or whatever you need to do. That was really easy. It was nice to drive. Did you enjoy driving the Grand Highlander?
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy car to live with and drive. It doesn't feel quite as heavy as it is, which is nice. But it does also, you turn hard, you're going to feel the weight shift around. So you don't want to drive this thing too spiritedly. But that can be said for most of the competitors out there. This is a comfortable cruiser for all you and your stuff. So
how was it riding in the third row today?
Actually, surprisingly, I think the third row here is quieter feeling than the Telluride and Palisade, and it's also more comfortable than those third rows. So in general, obviously, I think it's better. There's just more space back there, and it feels more comfortable. The seating position is really good. It's actually a place I would not have a hard time spending a couple hours in on a road trip.
That's great. That's great. Well, if you could say that about the third row, from an adult perspective, then you're likely not to get quite so much pushback from the little guys when they're asked to sit back there. So, and they get a lot of amenities. They get a lot of nice features back there. So lots of things to keep them happy. But I really do like all the options. We do have eco mode, and I've just popped it into eco mode, and this will give us, in theory, better fuel economy. I think we would need to do, a longer test drive than just a few miles on this road to see eco mode. But that's something that if you're really focused on fuel economy, and gas is $6 a gallon here on the Big Island where we are right now, I think I'd probably be keeping it in eco mode.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and not so much driving in sport mode. And then we also have a couple of off-road options here, and then we have snow, which we're not going to see here. But actually, if you were to go up to one of the peaks, you probably would actually be driving in snow. So that's something that you might appreciate. So I've really enjoyed being behind the wheel of the Hybrid Max version all day, and with the 362 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque is really very, very powerful and fun SUV to drive. But now let's take a look at driving the hybrid. Now this is the same hybrid engine that is in the Toyota Highlander hybrid, 240 horsepower. Toyota doesn't give a torque number on their pure hybrids. So let's take a look and see how that compares to the Hybrid Max. In eco mode, you have an indicator that shows, and if you've driven a Highlander hybrid, you are familiar with this. When you're actually charging the battery, which is regenerative charging, it's channeling any unused or created energy back into the battery. So when you lift your foot off the accelerator, for instance, you're no longer sending power to the wheels. It sends that power back into the battery and stores it for you so you can use it later. I love that. I wish my children would do that with a lot of the things in the house that they take out and then never put back away, right? And then you can see when you're in eco mode, so accelerating, but you're not using a lot of power. And then you can see the needle will move over to show when you really are using a lot of power. So accelerating to get on the highway, up to speed, that kind of thing. There's also an EV icon that comes on. So when you're in eco mode, you'll see it says eco. And when you're in the charge zone, the EV light comes on. That means you're driving on pure electric. All of these cues are great because they help you to be a more efficient driver. So now we've been driving this for a little bit. Our fuel economy has gone down from that very high level. I think of like sort of neighborhood driving of almost 38 miles per gallon. So now we're at 37.2. All of that is more than Toyota's estimate of 35 MPG. Now we're in eco mode, and accelerating up to the speed limit did drop me down a little bit. So you can watch your fuel economy ebb and flow as you give it gas or slow down, as you allow that regenerative system to take back some of that power and restore it. That's what actually increases your fuel economy, which is a pretty cool detail. Something that we're learning. It's so funny. These are things that cars have been doing for years in calculating that big number, but we're actually getting to see the more granular performance of our cars, and that helps us to understand better how to be more efficient drivers, how to use less fuel, save more of the battery, those kinds of things it's kind of a fun game behind the wheel. So now let's try it out in normal. So we've been driving in eco. I'm taking off the eco and just putting it in normal. The Grand Highlander Hybrid has a CVT transmission. It's the only one that has that CVT. The Hybrid Max and the gas turbo model both have a 6-speed transmission. So you hear it, but here it's just more consistent, and it's a little faster. When you tap the accelerator, you do hear it quicker in the hybrid. Many people mistake that for a lack of performance, or that the engine's working, the motor's working too hard. That is not the case at all. This transmission is designed, again, to be super efficient and to really give you all the power that you need when you need it, rather than using energy to shift gears, change gears, and that kind of thing. So here's a little anecdote for you. In 2005, I bought the very first Toyota Highlander hybrid. It was the first model to have the hybrid engine. They estimated it would get 28 miles to the gallon. I usually got about 25 or 26, so I never really got that full 28. It was the first one. It proved that an SUV could get more than 18 or 16 miles per gallon, which was about what I was getting in my Jeep Grand Cherokee. I needed to get better fuel economy. I also needed a third row, and that SUV had a third row. So Toyota was able to prove that you can have a 3-row SUV with a hybrid that gets more than 25 miles per gallon. Well, they have been building on that legacy since 2005, 2006 model year. And so here we are in the Grand Highlander 3-row SUV, a truly full-size SUV with a third row that is amply sized for adults, that gets much better fuel economy. In 2005, I paid $45,000 for that car with a few extras and shipping and the delivery charge. Almost $48,000. MSRP on this is $47,000. How about that? Almost 20 years later, and the car is better, and the price is the same. The car's bigger, it's better, it gets better fuel economy, and the price is the same. How about that for incredible?